Hey, and welcome back to video number 5, which is web hosting and content delivery networks and what to look for. So, when it comes to your web hosting company, who you use is actually very, very important because who you use can have a great effect on your site speed in terms of loading for your specific user. So, if let's say for example your web hosting company tends to over deliver, meaning they put too many people on a shared hosting server. Guess what? The site's going to load slower because you're sharing the web space and the hosting and the CPU and the server and everything like that with other people. So shared server hosting has its downsides. There are web hosting companies out there that actually monitor this. They don't over deliver. They, instead of putting, let's say, 100 or 500 people on a server, they actually have a limit and they decide, okay, let's say 100 people or 50 people on a server max. And then if they have too many people using resources, they'll actually move you to a different web hosting server within their data center. So that's a good web hosting company. But to be honest, they are far and few. So keep that in mind. Think about that. If your web hosting server or your web hosting company is over delivering, then when somebody comes to your site, it's going to be very, very hard for people to load your website. So that can have a great effect on your site. And what I found through looking at Cloudflare, using it, and so forth, that what I'd recommend, if you go to cloudflare.com, you can actually go all the way down to the bottom, click on partners. So if you look under hosting partners down at the very bottom, you'll actually see which hosting companies are part of the Cloudflare network. So these are actually hosting partners that have had to go through rigorous testing and things like that to get to the point of becoming an optimized hosting partner. So if you go with one of these web hosting companies, then you will actually have Cloudflare with Railgun and things like that integrated into the system. So in actuality, it's going to be a lot cheaper if you go with one of these web hosting companies. Bluehost is good. It's actually recommended by WordPress itself as a WordPress host. DreamHost is good. A2 hosting is good. Haven't actually tried these other ones, but these tend to be the much better ones. Now, if you actually go up here, Cloudflare has different options. You can go with the free version, which is pretty much the basic version. And then they have Cloudflare with stuff like Railgun, which enables you to speed your site up a lot faster. So as you can see, you got free version, you got pro version, which if you look at it, there's not a whole lot of difference, but you get a little more statistics and you can see exactly what it is. Like $20 per month, $5 per extra additional website, and you got Cloudflare Business, which has Railgun. Now, you notice that it's $200 a month for each website. It's a good amount of money, right? But if you go through Cloudflare partners, they actually have deals set up where to get Railgun, it's actually a lot cheaper. So, for example, A2 hosting, if you go here and you look down here, let's say you're going to choose managed VPS hosting, for example. It's not really that expensive, but as you can see, they focus on SSD, which actually will speed up your host a lot faster. SSD is good. You can see Railgun Optimizer. You can get it free if you get this, or it's $2 a month extra. So you can actually save a lot of money just by going with an optimized partner of Cloudflare versus actually getting Cloudflare directly. So I want to make that note and show you that so you know that you can actually save a good amount of money by doing that, but yet still have the advantages of accessing Cloudflare with Railgun. So this in itself will help you because you already have Cloudflare integrated into the web host. You don't have to worry about integrating it yourself. Plus, if you have a WordPress site, then you can use W3 Total Cache integrated with Max CDN. So you got Cloudflare, you got SSD, you got Railgun, plus you got Max CDN. And guess what? Your speed is gonna be super, super fast. So when you get tons and tons and tons of traffic, then you still got really fast speed. Your site visitors are not going to think, okay, this stinks. They're going to think, wow, this site runs really fast. I can get the information. I can get access to the content that I want really, really quick. And they'll keep coming back to your site. Versus your competitors, on the other hand, they're going to go to their sites and think, wow, this site loads really slow. I can get my content in the same amount of content, but better content at your site. So that's what's going through the visitor's mind, and that's why we recommend Cloudflare. But that's why I say if you can get access to one of these hosting partners, then guess what? You got to integrate it within their system. Now, if you move down, you can actually see other web hosting companies, certified hosting partners as well, 1&1 and other places like that. Now, I will say shared hosting tends to be a little bit not as good, just because, for example, HostGator, we've had sites on HostGator, and HostGator has actually kicked us off the server while in the middle of like a launch or something. So just keep that in mind. Shared hosting is a little more risky. If you're going to go all out and your site grows and you're getting a lot of traffic, you might want to switch to some sort of virtual private hosting server like at A2 Hosting or DreamHost or Bluehost. We haven't actually tried these other ones, so I can't really recommend those. But anyways, give this a try, especially if you're running into the situation where your web hosting company is just really, really slow, or they are overselling their server. And then do all this other stuff that we talked about W3 Total Cache in terms of WordPress, and then all the other stuff, optimization of your images and everything like that. You should have a much faster download speed. And from that point on, you will most likely, when you retest your pages with GTmetrix, with Pingdom, with Google, it should be a lot faster. And then, of course, from this point on, we can focus on content. We can focus on the other things that the human element, the human visitors are actually going to care about in terms of, in the end, they care about the content. That's really what they want. But to get that to that point, you need to provide fast service, because especially in this world of instant gratification, this is going to help you out. And this is going to help you out get ahead of all your competition, because your competition most likely is not doing this. Or if they are, you better get ahead of the game. So with that said, let's move on to the next video. And I'm going to talk about how to get some better content, how to use a mixture of content to increase your stick rate and get people enjoying your content, wanting to come back to your site, and things like that.